Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Well, what do we have here? Former Attorney General Pam Bondi is in a pickle. Yeah, fam. Democrats are on her head. They're saying that just because you got fired by Donald Trump, your president, does not mean that we are not going to investigate you for wrongdoing in your handling of the Epstein files. Yeah, family, they want Pam Bundy's neck. Yeah, fam, they're after her big time. Now, they're saying that Pam Bundy messed around with records, kind of like tampered with evidence and things of that nature. Yeah. Uh, I got a question. If I was to ask Pam Bundy anything, my first thing that I want to ask her is what steps she took to hide files about Trump and children. I just straight up asked her, what files, what steps did you take to hide files about Donald Trump and little girls specifically? Yeah, she should be taken to court for her crimes right now. Or she could play this. She could play this. Go get her, pick her up. Do the prep walk and everything, right? Uh, but here's an option for Pam if she cared to take it. She could throw Donald Trump under the bus like Donald Trump did her, and pay him back for all of that loyalty she gave him, and squeal like a rat. Yeah, man, she could just rat him out. Say, hey, look, we covered up these files. Like Pam Bundy knows what's in those files. I think this is why Trump kept her on board to kind of placate her. I do not believe that Pam Bundy is 100% expendable. I do believe that Trump kept her around because she knows where the bodies are buried, literally and figuratively speaking. She knows what's in those files. She knows a lot. And Pam is probably sitting there thinking to herself, she's scared to death because she knows what Trump is capable of. She knows what the government is capable of. And she's probably scared out of her mind. I don't foresee her throwing Trump under the bus, though. Even if she tried to do it mildly. If she tried to do it mildly, I don't see her doing that. When you get to that type of level, everything, your whole life, like you see a lot. You see you see the good, the bad, and the evil. And you know what could happen. When you get to that level, fam, not only is your life on the line, but everything you love is on the line. You would have no career, no life, no nothing if you spill the beans. If you start speaking on your life is over. It's no way possible you would be allowed to continue walking around like nothing's happened. So I don't see her throwing Trump under the bus, but I do see Trump throwing her under the bus. I do see Trump looking out for Trump. The GOP house of cards are falling. And hey, fam, what a beautiful sight. Couldn't have happened to a better party. Some people say, well, it took them long enough. Well, better late than never, man, But yeah, that's something to think about, giving her full immunity. You give her full immunity, but I don't think that would be enough because she's not going to just need full immunity. She's going to need full protection. If she remotely acts like she's going to tell what she saw in those files, or she's going to give those files up remotely. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because all of them have lied under oath. So, yeah, there would be no pardons. I would be comfortable to say that there would be no pardons if the Democrats had somebody side on their end, but they don't really have a real, like, I'm going to get you sucker type dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to get you by any means. You know, I'm going to get you though. They don't really have one of those type of people over there. You know, I think the closest they can get is Letitia James, you know, or somebody like that. But other than that, they really don't have somebody say, no, he going down. Because if they did, Trump wouldn't be president. If they had somebody who had the courage to go after wrongdoers, criminals, no matter what their lot in life is, no matter what level they're on, if they had that type of person, then Trump wouldn't be the president and this country wouldn't be going through all of the mess that it's going through right now. Pam Bondi was in position when she obstructed justice. She was in position to obstruct justice. And she did. She did. I mean, she wouldn't be the first politician to do that, but she definitely obstructed justice. But it was at Trump's behest, so Trump will protect her as much as he can. But if this thing gets out of control and there's any way that Trump has to give her up to save his own skin, he'll do that first. He'll give her up, save his own skin, and then fight. Fight, fight, fight. And ultimately, he'll prevail because they're not going to lock him up. If they couldn't lock him up as a 34-time felon, they're not going to lock him up for invading a country. They're not going to illegally invading the country. They're not going to lock him up for dropping bombs and starting illegal wars. They're not going to lock him up for padding his pockets. They're not going to lock him up for showing favor with government contracts and giving them to his sons and son-in-laws and friends. They're not going to lock him up for none of that stuff. He's going to die. He's going to die a free man. A free man who never had to pay for his crimes against the United States. Now, I want you to think about that. Because everybody else got to pay. You know, they're big on paying for your crimes. They're really big on that. You go to any of these courtrooms, that's all the judges are talking about. You know, we need justice. You know, you're not special. You're not above the law. And we need to send a clear and resounding message to Mr. Such and such, such, that he's not above the law. But they've never taken that position with Donald Trump. Even when he was going through trial, he was given orders by the judge to keep his mouth shut. This dude goes straight to Truth Social. Hell, he's probably sitting in the courtroom on Truth Social talking stuff about the judge, just berating the judge, berating the prosecutors. Nobody does that. Nobody in their right mind. But Trump knew that they wasn't going to lock him up. He knew. And the reason why they wouldn't lock him up is because they want the rest of the world. It's bigger than the United States. They want the rest of the world to see the United States as a trusted country, the country of law and order. And if the country of law and order has a president that ends up in the penitentiary, the way that they see it, perhaps that would do something to affect trust. So instead of doing that, they decide to let him run rampant. But really, if they had locked him up, it would have given foreigners more confidence in the American judicial system, because then they would have understood, damn, they'll lock anybody up, including the president of the United States. damn, they serious over there in the US. They are serious about justice. But as it stands, everybody is saying they're not really serious about justice because they have this president who's in the Epstein files that represents the biggest sex crime in the history of the United States and perhaps the entire world. And nothing's being done. He's still allowed to direct the country, like nothing's being done about it. So they're laughing at the United States. The United States right now is the laughing stock of the world. Trump said we're more respected, we're stronger, and all this stuff, man. That's a lie. Nobody respects the United States. They might fear the United States, but fear and respect are two different things. Nobody respects the United States. And the United States don't have the pull that it had in the past to pretend to be the world's moral compass. That's over. And also, more countries are now saying, no longer are you the world's police. The buck stops here. It was one thing to invade Venezuela, but when he tried to take over Greenland, he had no real footing to stand on. He could not figure out how to explain his way out of that. Everybody understood that was just straight up bullying tactics, and they didn't even try to hide it. Several members of his cabinet was like, yeah, we want Greenland, we're going to take Greenland, and yeah, and Canada, you better keep your mouth shut, because we'll come get that too. And by the way, France, hey, don't play. You know what we'll do to you. That's the play. That's the mentality. The United States is less respected than they've ever been, and it's not going to be any more respected when Trump gets out of office. They might get a little bit, just get a little momentum, but I suspect that the Democrats will get in and blow it. I'm telling you, fam, because that's just the way things have gone, and I'm not trying to be cynical here. I hope everything goes right. I hope they can get in and turn things around. I hope that's what happens. But if I look at history, especially recent history, it just goes from Republican to Democrat, Republican to Democrat. The Democrats get in office, they get everything settled. Everybody's okay wage-wise, there's, employment is up, people have their health care benefits, people feel good, a little good about themselves, and then, but the Democrats take it too far when they start getting personal about their liberal ways, right? The liberal things that they want to do. And they go to the extreme with it. See, they go to the extreme. And once they go to the extreme with it, people just get tired of it and they like anybody but the Democrats. So then even people get so tired that they start voting against their own interests. They're like, you know what? I know this is a horrible person, and I know he with the Ku Klux Klan, and I know the skinheads love him, and I know the neo-Nazis are comfortable in that party, and I know they hate me, and if they had a chance, they'll kill me. But I just can't do the dudes in the girls' bathroom thing. I'm voting Republican. I'm telling you, fam, it's as simple as that. I know some of you would like to think that it's more complex, but it's really not. We're living in an age of identity politics. And we're also living in an age of extremism. People want to be all the way to the left or all the way to the right. The problem is we don't have enough balance. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.